backs or legs or faces. The speed of appearance varied too. Some people developed only a few over several hours. Others, like Jake, erupted in dozens within minutes. There was no logic to it, no medical explanation that fit. By 8 a.m., the hospital had admitted 83 patients. The emergency room had been transformed into a makeshift ward, with cots and beds lining every available space. The cafeteria, the meeting rooms, even the administrative offices had been converted to patient care areas. And still, more people kept arriving. Sarah was examining a teenage girl, Emma Chen, no relation. When Marcus found her, he looked like he hadn't slept in days, his eyes red-rimmed and his normally neat hair standing in wild tufts. "Sarah, we need to talk." Privately, Emma's mother started to protest, but Sarah assured her she'd be right back. She followed Marcus into an empty corridor, away from the chaos of the emergency room. "What is it?" Marcus pulled out his phone and showed her a news alert. The headline made Sarah's stomach drop. "Mysterious illness strikes Millbrook. Hundreds affected." "It's already out," Marcus said. "Someone posted about it on social media around 6 this morning. Now it's everywhere. Local news, national news. The CDC called me 20 minutes ago. They're sending a team, but they won't arrive until this afternoon at the earliest." Sarah took his phone and scrolled through the article. The photos were grainy and taken with cell phones, but they clearly showed patients in the hospital, their skin marked with the distinctive moles. The comments section was already filling with speculation: biological weapon, environmental contamination, government conspiracy. "There's more," Marcus said quietly. "I just got off the phone with Dr. Rosen over at Riverside Medical Center." Riverside was the next town over, about 15 miles away. They've had 5 patients come in this morning, all presenting with the same symptoms. All of them had been in Millbrook yesterday, shopping, visiting friends. "Sarah, it's spreading beyond the town." The phone felt heavy in Sarah's hands. She'd known this was coming, had feared it since last night, but hearing it confirmed was different. This wasn't just Millbrook's problem anymore. This was becoming something much bigger, much more dangerous. "We need to establish a quarantine," Sarah said. "If people are carrying this to other towns." "It's too late for that," Marcus interrupted. "Even if we tried, we don't have the authority. Only the CDC or the state health department can enforce something like that. And by the time they get here and set it up, who knows how many more people will have left town." He was right, and Sarah knew it. But she couldn't just stand here and do nothing while whatever this was spread to the entire region, maybe further. "Then we focus on what we can control," she said. "We keep documenting, keep treating, and we find a way to stop the progression." Tom Bradley transformed in less than 12 hours. If we can find a way to slow or stop that process. A crash from down the hallway cut her off. Then screaming. They ran toward the sound. Sarah's heart pounding. The screams were coming from one of the examination rooms. And as they got closer, Sarah recognized a voice. Mrs. Patterson. Sarah threw open the door and immediately recoiled. The elderly woman was thrashing on the examination table, held down by 2 nurses who were struggling to control her. But it wasn't Mrs. Patterson's movements that made Sarah freeze. It was her skin. The moles were moving fast now, racing across her body like a swarm of insects. They appeared and disappeared, merged and split, creating patterns on her skin that shifted and changed moment by moment. And beneath them, clearly visible now, were shapes. Long, sinuous shapes that undulated beneath the surface, like serpents swimming through her flesh. "Sedate her," one of the nurses shouted. "Now!" But before anyone could move, Mrs. Patterson's eyes snapped open. They were completely black, not the pupils, but the entire eye, scare and all, as if someone had filled them with ink. When she spoke, her voice was different, deeper, layered with harmonics that shouldn't have been possible from a human throat. "Too late," she said. "We're already here." Then she smiled, and Sarah saw that her teeth had changed too. They were darker, sharper, more numerous than they should be. Mrs. Patterson's body went rigid for a moment, then completely relaxed. The nurses stepped back, breathing hard. Sarah approached cautiously, her medical training overriding her fear. The elderly woman's eyes had returned to normal, or almost normal. They were still her own pale blue, but there was something else there now too. A strange luminescence, as if light was reflecting from somewhere deep inside. "Mrs. Patterson?" Sarah said softly. "Can you hear me?" The woman's head turned toward her with an unnatural smoothness. "Sarah," she said, and it was Mrs. Patterson's voice again, thin and wavering. "Sarah, help me. It's inside me. It's thinking with my thoughts. It's remembering my memories. It's—" She stopped, her face contorting. No, I won't let you. This is my body. Mine." A struggle seemed to be happening behind her eyes. Two consciousnesses fighting for control of one body. Mrs. Patterson's hands clutched at the sheets, her knuckles white. Then, suddenly, she went still. "Mrs. Patterson?" Sarah reached for her pulse. The woman's eyes opened again, fully black once more. "She's still here," the voice said. "We don't erase. We integrate. She is part of us now, and we are part of her. Soon you'll understand. Soon you will all join us." Marcus grabbed Sarah's arm, pulling her back from the bed. "Sarah, we need to get out of here. Now." But Sarah couldn't move. She stared at the thing wearing Mrs. Patterson's face, trying to understand what it was telling her. Integration. They weren't killing their hosts. They were merging with them, becoming something new, something hybrid. "Why?" Sarah asked. "Why are you doing this?" The black eyes fixed on her with an intensity that made her skin crawl. "Because we must. Because we have wandered so long, carried by wind and water, sleeping in soil and stone. We found you at last. Warm bodies, thinking minds, the perfect vessels. We will make you better. We will make you part of the whole. Where did you come from?" A sound came from Mrs. Patterson's throat. Was it a laugh? From deep, from old, from the places you've forgotten to look. "We have always been here, waiting, and now—" The smile widened impossibly. "Now we are ready." Mrs. Patterson's body convulsed once, violently, then lay still. This time, when her eyes closed, they didn't open again. Sarah checked her pulse, steady if a bit slow. The woman was alive but unconscious, and the dark moles covering her skin had stopped moving. Sarah turned to Marcus, who looked as shaken as she felt. "Did you hear that?" she asked. "Did you hear what it said?" "I heard," Marcus said quietly. "Sarah, what if it's telling the truth? What if this isn't a disease or parasite? What if it's something else? Something intelligent?" Sarah wanted to deny it. She wanted to explain away with science and logic and rational thought. But she just watched an elderly woman's eyes turn completely black. She'd heard something speak through her that wasn't human. She'd seen Tom Bradley transform into something that looked barely human at all. "If it's intelligent," Sarah said slowly, "then maybe we can communicate with it, negotiate with it, make it stop." Or maybe a new voice said from behind them, "It's too late for that." They turned to find Dr. Hayes standing in the doorway. She looked exhausted and defeated, her scrub stained and her hair falling from its ponytail. "Patricia?" Sarah said. "What's wrong?" "Everything," Patricia said flatly. "We just got reports from every town within a 30-mile radius. They're all starting to see cases. And Sarah—" She paused, her voice breaking. "My daughter called me 20 minutes ago. She's at college in Portland, 200 miles away. She woke up a mole on her arm." The implications crashed over Sarah like a wave. If it had already reached Portland, if it was spreading that fast across that much distance, then this wasn't just a regional problem. This was potentially national, maybe international. "How?" Sarah whispered. "How is it spreading so quickly?" "I don't know," Patricia said. "Maybe through the air, maybe through touch. Maybe it doesn't need direct contact at all. Maybe it's been dormant in all of us for years, and something just triggered it to activate." Sarah thought back to what Mrs. Patterson, or the thing inside her, had said. "We have always been here, waiting." What if it was true? What if this organism, whatever it was, had been lying dormant in human bodies for generations, passed down through bloodlines, waiting for some signal to awaken? An alarm started blaring through the hospital. Sarah's stomach clenched. Code blue? Marcus said, reading the alert on his phone. Multiple codes. Jesus, Sarah, it's happening everywhere at once. They ran back toward the main ward. All around them, hospital staff were rushing between rooms, responding to emergencies. Sarah could hear monitors beeping, people shouting, patients crying out. The hospital was descending into chaos. She burst into the emergency ward and stopped dead. At least a dozen patients were convulsing simultaneously, their bodies arched on their beds, skin rippling and darkening, the moles spreading and merging at visible speed. Some were screaming. Others had gone silent, their eyes rolled back in their heads. And all of them, every single one, were changing. They're all hitting the critical stage at the same time, Marcus said, his voice barely audible over the chaos. But why? What triggered it? Sarah looked at the clock on the wall. 9:47 a.m. Almost exactly 12 hours since Mrs. Patterson had been admitted. 12 hours since the first patients had started arriving in the emergency room. It's on a timer, she said, understanding dawning with terrible clarity. Whatever this is, it has a set progression. 12 hours from initial manifestation to transformation. And if everyone was exposed at roughly the same time, then they'll all transform at roughly the same time, Marcus finished. His face had gone pale. Sarah, there are hundreds of people in this hospital right now. Maybe thousands infected throughout the region, if they all reach this stage at once. He didn't need to finish. Sarah understood. The hospital would be overwhelmed. The entire healthcare system would collapse under the weight of simultaneous emergencies. And what happened to the people who transformed? Would they be like Tom Bradley, comatose and changed? Or would they be like Mrs. Patterson, conscious but no longer entirely human? Movement caught her eye. One of the convulsing patients, a middle-aged man whose name tag read Robert Sullivan, had gone still. His eyes opened, and they were completely black. Then he sat up. All around the room, other patients were doing the same, sitting up with unnatural smoothness, their movements synchronized, their black eyes all turning to face the same direction, toward Sarah. Hello, Dr. Chen, they said in unison, dozens of voices speaking as one. Thank you for gathering us all in one place. It makes the integration so much more efficient. Sarah's blood ran cold. They hadn't been helping these people by admitting them to the hospital. They'd been doing exactly what the organism wanted, concentrating the infected in one location, making it easier for whatever intelligence was driving this to coordinate and control its new hosts. What do you want? Sarah asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The transformed patients tilted their heads in perfect synchronization, like puppets on the same strings. Want? We don't want anything. We simply are. We spread. We grow. We become. It is our nature as breathing is yours. You're killing people. No, the voices said. We are transforming them, making them part of something greater, something beautiful. You will understand soon, Sarah Chen. You will all understand. One of the patients, Robert Sullivan, stood up from his bed. The others followed, moving in eerie coordination. They began walking towards Sarah and Marcus, their movements fluid and purposeful. Back up, Marcus said urgently. Sarah, back up now. But Sarah stood her ground. She was terrified, yes, but she was also angry. These were her patients, her neighbors, her community. And something was taking them away, piece by piece, person by person. Stop, she said firmly. I don't care what you are or where you came from. These are human beings, and you don't have the right to take them over. The transformed patients stopped walking. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then something strange happened. The synchronized movement broke. Some of the patients looked confused, their black eyes flickering back to normal for brief moments. Others remained still, as if frozen mid-step. Interesting, the voices said, though now they weren't perfectly in sync. Some spoke a fraction of a second before others. Resistance. The host consciousnesses are fighting back. We did not expect such strength of will. Sarah saw her opening. That's because you don't understand us, she said. You think we're just vessels, just bodies to inhabit. But we're more than that. We're individuals, with our own thoughts and dreams and connections to each other. You can't just erase that. More patients were breaking free of the synchronization now. Their eyes flicker between black and normal, their faces contorting as they struggled internally. Sarah could hear individual voices emerging from the collective, people calling out for help, for their families, for themselves. "We do not erase," the voices said, but now they were fragmented, uncertain. "We integrate, we join, we become one." "You're parasites," Sarah said coldly. "And every organism has a weakness. We will find yours." For a long moment, nothing happened. The transformed patients stood frozen, their expressions cycling to confusion, anger, and something that might have been fear. Then, all at once, they collapsed. Not dead. Sarah could see they were still breathing, but unconscious, as if whatever intelligence had been controlling them had suddenly withdrawn. Marcus grabbed her arm. "Sarah, what just happened?" "I don't know," she admitted, "but I think they're not as in control as they want us to believe. The human consciousness is fighting back. Maybe that's the key. Maybe that's how we stop this." Before Marcus could respond, Patricia Hayes burst into the room, her phone in her hand and panic written across her face. "Sarah, it's the CDC. They've established a perimeter around Millbrook. No one in or out. The National Guard is mobilizing. They're calling it." She paused, swallowing hard. "They're calling it a potential extinction-level event. They're talking about containment measures if this spreads any further." Sarah felt the blood drain from her face. Containment measures. She knew what that meant in worst-case scenarios. Sterilization. Complete eradication of the infected area and everyone in it. "They can't do that," she said. "These are people. Living people. We can still save them." "Can we?" Patricia asked, and the desperation in her voice was heartbreaking. "Sarah, be honest with me. Do you have any idea how to stop this?" Sarah looked around the room at the unconscious patients, at the monitors still beeping their steady rhythms, at the morning light streaming through the windows onto a scene of quiet horror. She thought about Tom Bradley, transformed beyond recognition, about Mrs. Patterson, with something else looking out through her eyes, about hundreds, maybe thousands, of people throughout the region going through the same terrifying metamorphosis. Did she know how to stop it? No, but she knew she had to try. "I have an idea," Sarah said slowly. "It's desperate, maybe impossible, but it's all I've got." She turned to Marcus and Patricia, her mind racing through everything she'd observed, every pattern she'd noticed, every word the organism had spoken through its hosts. They said they integrate, not erase. That means the human consciousness is still in there, fighting for control. And we just saw that fight happen. When I challenged them, when I reminded them that we're individuals with our own will, some of the hosts broke free, at least temporarily. "So what are you suggesting?" Marcus asked. "I'm suggesting that maybe the cure isn't medical. Maybe it's psychological. If we can strengthen the human consciousness, help the hosts fight back from the inside, we might be able to drive this thing out, or at least stop it from taking complete control." Patricia was shaking her head. "Sarah, how would that even work? We can't give therapy to hundreds of people simultaneously, especially not people who are unconscious or actively transforming." "No," Sarah agreed, "but we can wake them up. We can talk to them. We can remind them who they are, connect them to their memories, their loved ones, their sense of self. The organism said it integrates. It takes on the host's memories and thoughts. What if we overwhelm it? What if we flood it with so much human consciousness that it can't maintain control?" Marcus was staring at her. "You want to fight a biological infection with human willpower?" "Yes," Sarah said simply, "because I think that's what this really is. Not a battle between medicine and disease, but between individual consciousness and collective assimilation. And if there's one thing humans are good at, it's fighting for our individuality." "It's insane," Patricia said, but there was a spark of hope in her eyes. "It's completely unscientific and probably impossible. Do we have a better option?" Sarah asked. Silence. Then Marcus straightened his shoulders. "No," he said, "we don't. So let's do it. Let's wake them up." They worked quickly, moving through the hospital and organizing staff. Every doctor, every nurse, every available person was given assignments, patients to sit with, to talk to help keep conscious and connected to their humanity. They brought in family members, despite the quarantine protocols, because sometimes the strongest anchor to yourself is the voice of someone you love. Sarah took Mrs. Patterson. She pulled a chair close to the elderly woman's bed and took her hand. It felt cold and strange, the skin oddly smooth where the moles had merged into larger patches. But it was still a human hand, still capable of warmth and touch and connection. "Mrs. Patterson," Sarah said softly, "I know you're in there. I know you're fighting. I want you to think about your life. Think about your home on Maple Street with the blue shutters and the garden full of roses. Think about your husband, Harold, and how you met him at that church social 60 years ago. Think about your daughter, Rebecca, and your grandsons, Thomas and James. They need you. They need you to come back." Nothing happened at first. Mrs. Patterson lay still, her breathing shallow, her eyes closed. But Sarah kept talking. She talked about the town, about the little details that make a life. The coffee shop where Mrs. Patterson got her morning tea. The book club she attended every Thursday. The volunteer work she did at the library. Sarah talked about memories and moments and all the small, precious things that make a person who they are. And slowly, gradually, Mrs. Patterson's fingers twitched in her hand. "That's it," Sarah encouraged. "Come back. You're stronger than this thing. You're more than just a body. You're a whole life, a whole history, a whole person. Don't let it take that away." Mrs. Patterson's eyes opened. They were still partially black, but there was more blue than before, more the woman herself showing through. "Sarah?" Her voice was weak, but recognizably her own. "I'm here," Sarah said, squeezing her hand. "Stay with me. Stay yourself." It's so hard," Mrs. Patterson whispered. It wants to know everything about me. It's digging through my memories, try to understand, but it doesn't feel them. It just catalogs them, like files in a drawer. "Then show it what feeling is," Sarah said. "Show it what it means to be human. Overwhelm it with emotion, with love, with all the messy, complicated things that make us who we are." Mrs. Patterson closed her eyes, and Sarah could see her concentrating, fighting an internal battle that Sarah could only imagine. Around them, similar struggles were happening in every room, on every floor. Doctors and nurses and family members all trying to pull their loved ones back from the edge of transformation. Would it work? Sarah didn't know. But as she sat there, holding Mrs. Patterson's hand and watching the blue slowly return to her eyes, she felt something she hadn't felt since this nightmare began. Hope. And somewhere in the depths of the hospital, in the bodies of hundreds of infected people, the organism felt something it had never encountered before. Fear. The hospital became a battlefield, not of violence or weapons, but a will against will, consciousness against consciousness. In every room, voices rose and fell. People talking to their transformed loved ones, telling stories, sharing memories, pleading and demanding and refusing to let go. Sarah stayed with Mrs. Patterson for over an hour, talking until her throat was raw. She told the elderly woman about her own life too, her childhood in San Francisco, her decision to become a doctor, her move to Millbrook 3 years ago seeking a quieter life. She talked about her sister's upcoming wedding, about the last movie she'd watched, about the terrible coffee in the hospital cafeteria that she secretly loved anyway. All the mundane, beautiful details of being human. And slowly, Mrs. Patterson came back. The black receded from her eyes completely. The strange smoothness of her skin began to break up, the merged patches separating back into individual moles. And most importantly, when she spoke, it was entirely her own voice. "I can still feel it," Mrs. Patterson said, her voice trembling. "It's still inside me, but it's quieter now, like it's sleeping or hiding." "Sarah, what did you do?" "I reminded you who you are," Sarah said. "I gave you something to fight with, your humanity. But it's not gone," Mrs. Patterson insisted. "It's just waiting." Sarah nodded slowly. She'd suspected as much. This wasn't a cure. It was a ceasefire. The organism was still present in its hosts, but the human consciousness had reasserted dominance. For now, she left Mrs. Patterson with a nurse and moved through the hospital, checking on other patients. The results were mixed. Some, like Mrs. Patterson, had successfully fought back and regained control. Others were still trapped in the transformation, their bodies completely overtaken, their consciousnesses buried too deep to reach. And a terrifying few, had achieved something else entirely. Sarah found one in a room on the 3rd floor, a young woman named Lisa Huang, a teacher at Millbrook Elementary. She was sitting up in bed, awake and alert, her eyes their normal brown. But there was something different about her expression, something that made Sarah pause in the doorway. "Dr. Chen," Lisa said, and her voice was perfectly normal. "Thank you for coming. I want to talk to you." "How are you feeling, Lisa?" "Strange," Lisa said honestly. "I can feel inside me still this other presence, but it's not fighting me anymore. She searched for words. "We're talking to each other, learning from each other." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you mean, talking?" "I mean, it's not trying to take over anymore. When everyone started reminding us who we were, reminding us of our humanity, something changed. The organism realized it couldn't just replace us. We're too complex, too deep, too individual." Lisa smiled slightly. "So it adapted. It's trying to coexist instead." "Coexist?" Sarah repeated. "You mean symbiosis?" "Maybe. I don't know what to call it. All I know is that I'm still me." Lisa Huang, 28 years old, 3rd grade teacher, loves terrible reality TV, and makes the world's worst lasagna. But I'm also more now. I can feel things I couldn't before. Connections to other people who are infected. Like a network, all of us linked together. And I can sense the organism's memories too, where it came from. Despite her unease, Sarah's scientific curiosity flared. Where did it come from? Lisa's eyes unfocused, as if she was looking at something very far away, deep underground, in caves that humans have never explored, sealed away from the world for millions of years. It's ancient, Dr. Chen, older than humanity. It evolved in isolation, developing a form of collective consciousness to survive. And when mining operations broke through into its habitat 6 months ago, she refocused on Sarah. It escaped into the groundwater, into the air, searching for hosts that could give it what it needed. Individual experiences, complex thoughts, the ability to truly live instead of just exist. "The mine," Sarah breathed. "There's that new copper mine outside of town. They had that collapse back in the spring." "That wasn't a collapse," Lisa said quietly. "That was a breakthrough into something that should have stayed buried." Sarah's mind was racing. If this was true, if the organism had been trapped underground for millions of years, then it had never encountered humanity before. It didn't understand us. It was trying to assimilate us using patterns that worked for simpler organisms, not realizing how different humans were. "What does it want now?" Sarah asked. "To survive," Lisa said simply. "That's all. It doesn't want to destroy humanity. It wants to join with us, to experience what we experience. But it's learning that it can't just take. It has to negotiate. It has to find balance." She looked down at her hands,